So last time we talked about this position, and so if many people would recognize this as a Kobayashi Fusaki, and the last, well, this approach is also very common and was played for quite a while. The more modern way is to approach high. It's a little bit different. I can explain a little bit why this one isn't played, maybe in another video, but it basically has to come down to... Oh, what am I doing? Totally mixed my brain up. Basically comes down to this variation where white attaches directly was seen as like a little bit... I've been told it's been seen as a little bit good for white, although it's still quite commonly played. Anyway, I'll get back to that later. Maybe this one's more clear. Oops. Yeah, but this one I've been told has been seen as a little bit good for white. But so, or a little bit good for black. For white? Oh, I am confused. I'm really tired, sorry. I've been told this is a little bit good for white, so instead black changed to starting to play more territorially. And this variation was very popular then, and a lot of players don't like having to come back here to reinforce. I am really tired, sorry. I should have got my notes. I looked at my notes more before I started. But yeah, so a lot of players don't like being forced to come back here. If you don't come back here, you know, like this, then this move is very annoying for white to have to deal with, because this group becomes kind of it's not weak, but it's a liability. It has no I shape and it's a little floating, so, and this is big in profit. So nowadays a lot of times we see the high approach, and black will often respond here. This move is played sometimes, but not as commonly because there's still weakness here along with these, so it's a little bit too much to invest in the bottom right now. So instead black will play here, and the question is, what does white do next? The probably most first intuition would be to play one of these 2 points, right, because this feels like a shoulder hit, but actually these are both wrong. If you push, I'm not entirely sure. Even the simple variation, when it's not lagging, come on, is quite alright for black because this group is not settled. Right? Jump out one way or the other. Or it could turn into a large avalanche, which, because there's a stone here, could be very useful for black. Oh boy, am I tired. There we go. That took me a second. So if we go back to a lot of the... What am I doing, even? Oh, what am I doing? I'm like all over the place. So if we go back to a lot of the more normal variations, normally this group, it gets a little bit complicated here, and so white can play here, or can play here, or can play here, or sometimes you make this exchange. So there's a lot of variations, but generally what's going to happen is that this center group, usually black's going to capture this corner, or it'll be one-step approach good for black, but this group's going to have to run, and it'll run into the stone. So normally white does not want to play like this either. So the really nice thing about this move is actually very simple and elegant. Oh, if you play this way, by the way, this is most likely going to happen in black with pincer. You could even play more aggressively. And even though white gets this turn, it's not that useful because black still gets a big corner, points at the bottom. There's a little bit of aji here, but it's not that big a concern when this whole group is under pressure. So what white normally does instead is white backs off. High or low, both are okay. And then black will push, and then white will reapproach, and leave this stone as light. And there's still a lot of kaji in this corner. White can attach here, or even here, and white can still back off here too, which would aim at pressing black. You can also play high, which is, I think, less common now, but it was the move that was played more at the start. I saw this one before I saw this one, but this is the same idea. You approach and then white approaches. And if black backs off, then white usually can take a corner, and this kind of thing is not uncommon. And then, you know, something here or here, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so that's from last time. This time, I'm going to not do an opening problem. This one's going to be a joseki problem. So you might see this approach sometimes, and black might pincer. And up to here is totally normal. Black can tenuki here, but black chooses the pressing variation. And then normally black is supposed to connect here. But what happens if black connects on top instead? Do you know how to answer this, or why this move isn't played? Okay, so I'll answer that in the next video, and I hope the Kobayashi variation was a little bit useful. Okay.